So far I've said a lot of words, right? I've said many things, and I think I'm not being entirely honest in some regard. And I'm just here thinking to myself, like, should I really, really be vulnerable? I'm contemplating if I should really go as deep as I want to go. And I think I might. Hey guys, what's up? So it's Ranzo here. So it's been a long time, maybe, I don't know, 7 months, probably 8 months, somewhere there. And some of you guys have been asking, like, where has Ranzo gone? I've seen comments as recent as yesterday saying he just disappeared, right? Like, what happened to the channel? All these things. But I have an announcement to make. And you've already seen the title, you've already seen the thumbnail, so I'm pretty sure you know what that announcement is. We are leaving Japan. It's been 8 years, right? So we actually came here the first time in 2016 August, right? So actually, in addition to that, it's been 8 years since we've been in Japan, but also it's been 7 years since I started this channel, BEJ, right? So September the 5th, 2017 was the day when I gave birth to this channel that you're watching me on. And we've done a lot of work. You guys have seen the documentaries, you guys have seen the interviews in Japan and across Asia in certain select countries, right? So you've been with us from the beginning. If you have, you understand, you've seen the journey and the progression. And I want to make an announcement. So since we first came to Japan in August 2016, and I came August 2016. My wife came like a few weeks or a couple weeks there, but before I did. And when we came, the plan was to be in Japan for just 1 year, right? We moved our family from Canada, right, Mississauga, Canada, to Tokyo, Japan, me and my wife and our first daughter, Tiffany, who is now 9 years old. And now we have a second daughter, Abigail, she's 2. Right, so the family's expanding, the family's growing, and since we came to Japan, I've traveled across Asia, traveled to different countries, but in all that time, the country that we left to come to Japan, we've not been back. We have not been back to Canada, right? And it's been a long time. It's been many, many years, and finally here we are. We're leaving Japan. So by the time you're watching this, we've already left. We're no longer in Japan. We are somewhere else. And I might do a video or a live stream or something of that nature after the fact, and just talk to you guys a little bit more. But before even that, I wanna give you guys some information, some feedback based on my experience. The last time I did a video like this was in 2022, I believe. I think I was driving and I was telling you guys about I think lessons I've learned having lived in Japan for 6 years at that time, at that point. But now it's been 7 years. Well, BJ is 7 years old, but it's been 8 years since we've lived in Japan. And some of you guys again have reached out to me and asked me hey, are you okay? Like, what's happening? All these different things, and you might have noticed a shift. And you might be a little bit concerned and wondering, like, hey, what has happened to Ranzo? What has happened to the Black Experience Japan? But I do believe we've done some good work. We've done some good work. We've inspired other people, that have started their own journey in similar niches, right? And stuff like that. So I think we've done a good job, in my own estimation. You can let me know if you think I've done a good job or not in the comment section down below. When I initially started, the goal was to lambast the negative stereotypes, right, of Black people. And of course, some people would argue, and rightfully so, that the job hasn't been complete in terms of repairing the image of Black people. And of course, not by our own doing, but the doing of those who mean people that look like me and you ill or wrong. But I think we've made some inroads in terms of platforming Black people, giving people a voice, amplifying their voices. We've inspired people to move to Asia, right? A lot of people have moved to Asia as a whole, this region, and also Japan and Vietnam and South Korea and different countries, within this region. So I think we've done good work, right? We've so many things we've done. So I think if someone might ask me, like, Ranzo, so is the job done? My answer to that is there's more work to be done. But as I said before, in a previous video or live stream I did maybe months ago, there's a grander vision, and there's something beyond BEJ. There's something beyond the experience of Black people, the human experience, and that's kind of like what I've been spending my time doing for the last how many months it's been, right? I haven't been active on BEJ, but I've been active in the Lord's work. Some people call this the Lord's work. But I'm talking about a greater vision beyond the African diaspora, beyond just, our struggles, indeed, which are real. We live it every single day, right? Myself, but there's something greater, and I phrase it like this: something of eternal significance. And I think that has consumed my life in a good way. And I'm in a way better place than I was even, when I was focusing exclusively on BEJ. Is this the end of BEJ because we're leaving Japan? But in reflecting, how has it been? I think it's been an amazing journey. The plan, again, wasn't to be here for this long. The plan was to be here for 1 year. Right, and now it's 8 years. So we've multiplied 1 by 8, right? So now we're here 8 years later. Tiffany's going to Japanese school. She speaks Japanese, and, she's pretty much grown up as a black foreigner in Japan. So, she has Japanese ways, and she has, our ways as well. But it's been an amazing experience. Of course, we've learned a lot of things. We've tried different food. I've been, throughout Japan extensively. Hitchhiking, interviews, documentaries, different countries, all these different things been featured in the Japan Times. You name it, I spoke at different companies, Facebook and Google and companies in Singapore and different stuff like that, right? Been interviewed by different people. But I haven't done that many interviews, to be honest, like people interviewing me. I've done a few. You might be able to find them online. But for the most part, I've been doing the interviewing, right? But what have I learned? I was thinking about this video before I hit record in terms of what can I relay to everyone that's watching this video in terms of what this experience has birthed within us or contributed to our human experience. I was thinking to myself, what can I share? There, of course, there's a multiplicity of things that we've learned since moving to this side of the world, right? Our Western mindset, is Western, right? Because we were born and bred and raised, in the Western Hemisphere. So there's a certain way of doing things, a certain way of being that when we came to the East, we had a different perspective. We got a different perspective of things, just in terms of how the world is. And you understand that even though we're all humans, right, we have very different ways of doing things, culturally speaking, but of course at the core of our being, we're still humans. So I was just trying to think about something, that I could convey. The last video I spoke about that I did 2 years ago, 2022, was about mindset, and that is still relevant to this day, right? Mindset is very, very important. And of course, I've interviewed so many people who have shared very good gems, right? In terms of how to have the best experience you can while living here. Indeed, but I think I'll make some observations, some maybe general and specific observations based on just the way that I've experienced Japan, and also through the eyes of other people, through whom I've lived vicariously by virtue of them sharing their stories with me. I think yes, it's a very beautiful society in terms of, even where I'm looking right now, there's no trash in sight. Nature is all around us. I'm a nature lover, as I've said before, time and time again. It's peaceful, it's quiet. You don't have to worry about your physical safety. I think more so in Japan, the issue is not physical safety, but more so mental stability and safety in terms of depression and in terms of loneliness and relationship issues. I think those things, in terms of the purpose of being, the purpose of existing, I think the people of this land struggle with that more than anything else, right? In terms of the physical landscape and the structure of society, for the most part, in terms of what we see, it seems to be, of course, quite advanced and a place where, as a foreigner, we can benefit from it. I think maybe more so because we're not beholden or ensnared, rather, by just the dictates of society, because we're outsiders, right? And we'll always be that way, and that's fine. But that's like our superpower, in the sense that we come and we can experience and contribute what we have to this society as a whole. So in that sense, yes, it's an amazing place. I remember the first time when I came, the first year, I had a homesickness, believe it or not. I think for the first 6 months, it was very, very challenging, actually. And even though the plan was to be here for 1 year, I wanted to move back. Within that first 6 months of being in Japan, after moving from Canada. And then it kind of started to grow on me. I started my first YouTube channel back in, it was December 2016 when I looked at the date on YouTube. And then that was my first channel. And then, of course, BEJ was birthed September 2017. and then some other channels between there, smaller channels. But then there's another one that I gave birth to in 2021. And that was when, after my encounter with God in 2020, like a serious encounter. And that's where I've been. And I don't think I've abandoned the vision. You know, I think someone said, I have a higher vision, and that might sound away. Someone said to me, you know, like the way that, you know, I do things and my flavor, because I contribute who I am to the channel. So that stands out from other people who have been inspired by us and doing different things, right? It's like I'm a part of the journey. I gave birth to this by God, I believe. I had this thing in my heart from when I was a young boy until I was able to conceptualize and give birth to what you guys know as BJ. And of course, there is a sort of flavor that I give to it that somebody else won't have because they're not me, right? So I get that. And I believe I've poured out and contributed significantly in that regard. But now there's a higher mission. And you might be asking, like, what will happen to this channel? I'm not entirely sure. I do have like unreleased, you know, content and things like that to release and share with you guys. And maybe at some point I will, you know, release those videos. Maybe actually after this one, you might see a ton of videos for the next few weeks, you know, going into October, you know, maybe just wrapping up all the things that I've done, and then to see where the vision that I initially had will take us, right? As you know, as time passes, things evolve, and of course, family expands and all these things. And now that, you know, we're leaving and heading west, the question then becomes like, what is in store for us? And also the channel that we've given birth to and nurtured over these years. And to be honest, I do feel a little bit guilty in a sense, because, you know, the Bible says, you know, whatever your hand find to do, do it with all your might, meaning pour out yourself with such excellence that you have nothing else to give. And I don't think I've done that with BJ. I've done, every now and again, I might touch on a few different things and have done something quite significant, I think, but I don't think that level of consistency in making sure that I do everything that that concerns BJ with all my might. I don't think I did that. So in a sense, at a not a significant level, I've done a disservice, I think, because there's so much. But I think, to be honest, I think I've given it maybe 75%, right? So there's like a 25% in regards to effort and best practices and going deeper and being really invested, even though to a certain sense, in some aspect I was. And I think that was where my issue began, because for me, I was so consumed by the work, you know, traveling all the time and doing all these things. I neglected the most important thing rather in my life, which is my relationship with God. I neglected that. And God had to reprimand me. Just brought things into view for me to remember the most important thing. And I think I'm thankful for that. And that was 4 years ago. You know, so we've still been on the journey since that time. You know, we've done good videos, started new series that people across the world have picked up, you know, in different countries. And, you know, because I'm always trying to do something different. That's me. I'm always trying to be different from everybody else. While the prevailing ideology is that you copy, mine is never to copy. Mine is to be different. Like, how can I stand out from somebody else? Because for me, that's always been a thing as a creative person. I just don't want to replicate somebody else. I want to be myself, authentically 100%. And I believe if there's one message for me to share with any creator out there or anyone, it's to embrace who you are in terms of your signature, your flavor, so to speak. Not to try to emulate, or well, I guess emulation is not really that bad. Kinda, it really depends how far you take it. But to try to express who you are authentically. You know, the world does not need another Ranzo. The world does not need another you. It needs you. It needs me as I am, right? And when I say these things, I'm trying to be a little bit careful in terms of the way I'm articulating that, because I don't want you to think that certain things about yourself that needs work or improvement is something that you should neglect. I'm not saying that, of course, constant self-improvement, right? And sometimes there are things that we believe about ourselves that aren't true. And I think it's important to identify those things and work on those things to become the best version of yourself. So the best version of yourself, right, is who I want you to share with the world. Not the part of yourself that's maybe still broken or not really where you need to be. That part of yourself, right? And be that person, right? Strive to get to that level and then be that person. So far I've said a lot of words, right? I've said many things, and I think I'm not being entirely honest in some regard. And I'm just here thinking to myself like, should I really, really be vulnerable? I'm contemplating if I should really go as deep as I want to go. And I think I might. Let's see. I feel like I don't know. I know this is not. It's not accurate, but it in my own estimation, it seems to be the reality. Like, I feel like I've experienced all there is to experience in Japan. It's been 8 years, of course, I've traveled extensively because of what I do, right? So I've been to not all the prefectures. I guess that was a goal at one point, but I've been to most of them. And most places in Japan are quite similar, right? So I've been, around. I've done a hitchhiking series, which was definitely an amazing series and journey experience for myself. One of the most impactful, I think, experiences living in Japan, and I think that has colored my experience and also my perception and perspective of things here. But I do feel, a part of me feels like I've done a lot, of course, and I've experienced a lot, and I feel like, I feel like it's time to move on. I do feel that if I'm being really honest, in my honest estimation, all I've accomplished, all I've done, all I've seen, of course there's more. I could, become fluent in the language and spend my time doing all that and then enter into another layer of Japan and go deeper. And then the deeper you go, the darker it gets, unfortunately. But I do feel, honestly speaking, some of you guys have never been here before. Some of you guys have traveled and visited and you want to come and live. And I think, and of course for you it's going to be like a really enriching experience, something different and new for you, and just so much to learn and see. And that's why I like Japan, because it's different from where I'm from. So there's so much to learn, and I like spontaneity. I like new, like newness and all these things. But I do feel it's been 8 years, y'all. That's a long time. Almost 1 decade of our lives in Japan. So I've spent a significant portion of my life in this land, and I do feel in myself that, I think it's time. I don't feel like it's time. However, okay, so there are two things, right? So to be completely transparent, in my estimation, I think it's time to leave. That's what I feel, right? We've done so much and all these things. We have 2 children now, and and Japan is one country of many. So that's one. So based on my own estimation, I think it's time to leave. I've done a lot, gained a lot, learned a lot, gave a lot. But I think I've come to the end of myself in terms of my plan or vision for Japan. Because when I came here, and the thing is, actually, my plan wasn't to be here this long. My plan wasn't to start a YouTube channel. My plan was to come here for 1 year, right? But of course, 1 year became 2, and 2 became 3, and now we're at year number 8. But I realized that the reason why we came, I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and we were trying to go back into just how this journey to Japan began. And I was sort of tracking my life in retrospect, just looking at things that happened in my life at certain times, and I realized that God had a plan for us to come to Japan before I even knew that He had a plan. Right, so the whole time from being in Jamaica, I think 17 years old, going to that language school there and getting my, trying to go deep, and then eventually moving to Japan in 2016. I had my own plan. I just wanted to come and just visit and travel for a year and just experience Japan. That's it. Come here for adventure. But then BEJ came, and that wasn't a plan of mine. It just happened. And then the Lord spoke to me in 2020, and He has given me a different vision. Well, His mission and vision for my life, not my own. So now the Ranzo you're looking at right now is not someone that's driving his own life, but the Lord is driving my life. He's taking me where he wants to take me. So you're looking at someone now that's surrendered to what God wants. And that's why I'm not so concerned about, YouTube, BEJ, and different things about like, oh, what next? It's more so God's vision. So now, at this point, after so many years, I'm living my life in a way where I am in the passenger seat and God is driving on my behalf. So for me, the question is, what does he want me to do? And he has given me a vision and he has given me a mission. And that's what I'm focusing on now. And some parts of it I'm intimidated about, but he's spoken to me clearly and, giving me his vision. So whilst, we're taking a trip, right? So some of you guys, you clicked on this and you said, oh, he's leaving. I am. I'm returning to the country that we left 8 years ago. And but it's not indefinitely, right? So there, for those of you guys who are a little bit like nervous and wondering like what's happening, like is he really leaving? Like no, what's gonna happen to the channel and all these things? It's an important trip, but it's not the end. It's not indefinite, right? So I'll be back, okay? So this part of my life, I think I'm making it official now to say the BEJ that you knew me for, it's run its course, and the next layer, the next journey will be a little bit different. It will look a little bit different. I think some of the themes might be similar, but there's an evolution happening, and that's where God is going to take this channel to where he wants it. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be releasing all the other videos that we have, and there are a lot actually, to release. I might release all of them or maybe just some of them because of course I've done different, trips and stuff like that I might share, but I'm not sure yet. But I think some of the more important videos I'll share with you guys. And then thereafter, the evolution begins in terms of what God wants to do with this channel. And in the meantime, in between time, if you want to see what I've been doing or what I've been up to, just check the link in the description down below, the very first one. And I'll also pin that channel in the comments as well. And look, I want you guys to, again, like this video, share this video. And also, I want to do another one, a follow-up. And so I'm giving you the opportunity, for those of you guys who've watched this far, so you've earned this opportunity right now, to just leave me a comment right down below and just say, Star Apple. That just came to my mind. Just put Star Apple, and that might sound a little bit corny and cheesy, but put Star Apple, say Star Apple, so I know that you guys actually watched this point in the video and write a question. I'm gonna do a follow-up Q&A video, right? Question and answer, and just ask me questions. You can ask questions to my wife as well, and my daughter who's 9, she's now in grade 4 in Japan. And if there's any questions you want to ask us about life in Japan, anything at all, nothing is off limits at this point, even though I'll go through it afterwards. But if you put Star Apple, right, whatever question you ask, you have a higher probability of me answering that question in the follow-up video. So again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I love you guys, right? So if it wasn't for each and every one of you guys who have watched my videos, subscribed to the channel, commented, shared the channel, shared the videos, shared your stories, and all these things, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I'm grateful, forever, eternally grateful to every person that God led to this channel, right? To share your story, to comment, to watch, to share, to view, to do all these things. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And now we're gonna be releasing the remaining videos, and then the new journey begins. Until then, check out the new channel. Again, it's a Christian channel for those of you guys. So if you wanna, and if you're like, what is he talking about? You can check it out in the description and the comment section down below. Until next time, God bless you all. I'm leaving Japan, but I'm returning. And then the new journey begins. Until next time, God bless you all. Bye for now.